Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Comic Book Geezers. I'm your host, Pete, and my co-host and partner in crime.
I'm Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Comic Book Geezers. Today's episode is about ROM The SpaceKnight.
ROM The SpaceKnight. So here's a character that was created from a toy.
Parker Brothers.
Parker Brothers division of Hasbro put out an action figure, which I had back in the day.
I never saw this toy in the store.
Yeah, it was a kind of a rare thing, but I had one. I don't know whatever happened
Well,
to
when
it.
when the comic came out, I used to always collect #1 issues, and so I went and got ROM #1. These are all from my collection, by the way. Pete had some of these, but threw them out or sold them or
sold
something.
them, traded them, yeah. But I remember when these showed up on the newsstand, it was kind of cool because most of us were into robots and sci-fi characters and what have you. So,
but this was, like we say, it was a toy that prompted this.
Which was kind of the thing back in the late 70s.
In the late 70s, because they were doing Star Wars, they did the Micronauts, which was another toy.
Shogun Warriors, all that kind of stuff. They were all toys. G.I. Joe, all this stuff.
So ROM came out.
So that's the first issue.
Great storyline. ROM was a cyborg from another planet called Galador.
Galador, I believe it was, yeah.
And he had 3 weapons, and what they called it was subspace, inner space, basically. He had a translator, he had a scanner, and he had a weapon. So when he would go to any planet, and he was fighting these evil dire wraiths. They were shapeshifters, and they would go to different planets and take over the planet, and ROM was their enemy. He would banish them to limbo. He had a translator, so he can go to any planet in the universe and communicate with any form of life because of his translator. Then, if he saw a living creature, he would scan it, and his scanner would tell him right away if it was a dire wraith because they're always in disguise. But his scanner would always reveal, this is his weapon, by the way, that he just dropped. When he wanted his weapon, all he had to do was think about it, and it would appear. And when he was done with it, it would disappear, and they called it subspace. So it would, I guess you could say, shrink down to the size of atoms. You couldn't see it. But his weapon would banish the dire wraiths to limbo, but when he banished them, they would turn into a pile of ash. And when he came to Earth, he was banishing dire wraiths who took the form of humans. So when other humans saw ROM disintegrating dire wraiths, they thought he was just disintegrating humans because they didn't know about the menace of the dire wraiths trying to take over the Earth. So he's actually trying to save the Earth, but humans hate him and fear him because they think he's just disintegrating innocent people, but he's not. I like the character. I like the book. I was a teenager, and because it was a #1 issue, I just kept buying them.
Yeah. Kind of a
I didn't have a subscription, but I was getting them, and I thought the covers were cool. I like the story, the storyline.
It's definitely different. You got to give Marvel credit for doing something different here. Now here we go.
So now you'll see that they're bringing in former existing characters from the Marvel universe.
Jack of Hearts.
Jack of Hearts.
And we know what usually the reason for doing that usually is.
And And then, so they made it, after 12 months, they came out with an annual. This is ROM Annual #1. And I just recently picked this up at Flea Market for $1, so couldn't go wrong. Issue 13. Apparently there was an army of these ROM SpaceKnights from planet Galador. Number 14.
Look at that creature.
Now, you'll check it out. Like, even the back covers are cool with comics. An advertisement for Legos. Can't go wrong there. Number 15. Now, ROM coming into a church and zapping a priest doesn't look good to the general public, but
that would not be allowed today.
He's doing good here in this frame. He's actually banishing an evil dire wraith, and it looks like it's in the middle of a wedding. Till death do us part. Is that the groom he's zapping? It is the groom. Yeah. The said priest. Let's see what we got here. I don't remember who this is. Moving right along. Now it gets a little bit trickier. Number 17, you bring in the X-Men. So sales must be after, I guess, 17 months, they're getting worried. So they dragged the X-Men. And the X-Men were super hot at this time.
Big time.
And like this is like this is probably like 1980, early 81. So they bring in the X-Men, I guess, to boost it. And here you are. Second part of the story. You got Wolverine on the cover and Storm. Colossus back here, Nightcrawler. And on the back, get your get your Colonial Infantrymen for $2. Right. Let's say $2.50.
Oh yeah,
$2.99.
It's always great looking back on these old ads and seeing like how much things cost back.
Do kids even play with stuff like this today? I don't think they make anything like this. Everybody's all into video games now.
Yeah, that's right. That's
again,
cool cover.
ROM. This is what, number 19. And again, more toy Army Men on the back.
That's right. Remember those old sets? They had like
I used
a million
to have
pieces.
them when I was a kid.
You throw them on the floor. It's like.
We used to. Me and my friend Joe. We used to get in his house and we'd line them up in a hallway, and then he'd set his Army Men up at one end of the hall, and I would do the same, and then we'd roll a Super Ball down the. And if you like bowling, if the Army Man got hit with the ball, he was out. This is issue 20. Issue 21, they bring in a villain called the Torpedo who fought Daredevil, and now he's going against ROM in this issue.
Actually, I also had like a Marvel premiere or a Marvel Presents of Torpedo, because I guess they tried to make him like an anti-hero at some point.
But they team up.
Yeah.
ROM. This kind of looks like they're going against Hydra almost.
Almost, yeah. Or AIM or whatever, yeah.
But definitely, this is issue 22. This is issue 23. So now you bring in Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and they're going to go attack the Baxter Building, the home of the Fantastic Four.
Go figure.
All right, good luck with that. Now they bring in one of my favorites, Nova.
Nova, yeah, look at that.
It's issue 24.
Who's the other guy on the left there?
Over here?
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Isn't he, I forgot.
The new champion. There's another guy. There's a couple guys on there. I don't know who the new champions are. What was that? Another, I guess that was another team. So yeah, Nova had started another team. Okay.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
So Nova's book was already canceled by this point, but the character was still there. This is issue 25. 2 different ROMs.
That's right.
Now it gets even more interesting. Issue 26. Now ROM's got to start dealing with Galactus.
Yep.
So he's got another menace on his hands besides the dire wraiths. This story carries over into issue 27, I believe, with Galactus again. These are probably the most valuable books, I would think, in the run with the X-Men and Galactus.
Yep.
Now we come back to the Torpedo again. And again with this classic cover of being pulled down under the earth.
Yeah.
Below the surface, above the surface. They do this theme quite a bit in the Hulk horror books, Thor. I can't even think of who else, but it's a common trait, and it works. It definitely works.
It's a Marvel thing. I can't say I've seen that on a lot of DC covers, but Marvel loved doing it.
How would you know? You don't own any DC books.
Well, I do have some, but I mean, I've seen lots of covers.
I have to cross-examine him here. That's all. This is what, number 30? No, 29. 29. Going down into a mine shaft. These dire wraiths are everywhere, and they can take on any form. I love this cover. This is one of my favorite ROM covers. This is issue 30. This is issue 31. Definitely cool. I like this cover too. There's anything monster sci-fi. This cover has a lot of like pinkish and purple in it, which you don't see too often in a comic book cover, but it works here. Yeah. This one's kind of creepy, kind of horror themed.
Have you noticed like the theme of these covers have really changed over the last 10 issues or so?
Yeah.
Taking on more, moving away from sci-fi
and
to
now
more
we got
horror.
G.I. Joe stuff.
Well, yeah, of course, G.I. Joe.
Now you get the Submariner involved.
Yeah, that's a weird
Well,
combination there.
Fighting these are dire wraith creatures under the sea.
Many more still here.
35, the story carries over. Look how they did the word ROM. Like they almost didn't make it solid. They used the background to fill it.
Yep.
Again, another great cover. I like this one. Issue 36. Definitely cool. I like this cover. Again with the purple background. Something not common. This is probably a 60 center, so this is probably like 1982.
Yeah.
This is dwindling down to my collection. This is 37. He ran, what, 76 issues?
75. I think,
75.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a subscription. I was just amazed that I was able to get these pretty much right in a row.
Shang-Chi there. Master Kung Fu.
Master Kung Fu. Again, the story carries over. This was basically the last in my consecutive run. I have the first 39 issues of ROM. Here you go. Then I stopped buying for a couple of years, ROM, and then I picked up again. I saw this one on a newsstand, and I had to get it. Saw Captain America on the cover.
Got the Avengers.
Yep.
Why not?
So this is issue 65. And then this cover I saw a month later. I had to get it, 66. Then that wraps up my ROM collection.
The last, I don't know, 5 or 6 issues of ROM before they ended at issue number 75 were actually drawn by Steve Ditko, formerly of
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and
The
Doctor
original
Strange.
Spider-Man
So,
artist.
that was, I believe, the last Marvel
Project that he
book
worked on?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. So we lost him recently. But hopefully you watched our tribute show to Steve.
Yes.
In fact, a lot of you have, so thank you for that.
And that wraps up our ROM edition of Comic Book Geezers. I'm Wild Bill, as always, saying thanks for being here with us. And see us again next time when we do some more science fiction. We're going to do a Star Wars outer space sci-fi episode, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And I think we're going to have a special guest on that show, if I'm not
It's
mistaken.
possible.
So pretty cool. Don't miss it.
Stay tuned, guys.
Take care. I'm Pete. Have a good one.
I'm Wild Bill. Thanks for watching.